Hello everyone, I'm Sohnjee. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much. I appreciate you checking me out. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. And of course, if you are new here, I'd very much appreciate you checking out this video and at its completion, hitting the like button, comment, let me know what you think, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you can check me out further when I upload new content. Okay, so we are going to get into this thing. We are talking about Geminis this video. That's right, we have done almost all of the zodiac signs. If you have not checked them out, please feel free to check them out. They really will give you some insight into what those relationship patterns can be like, whether you are in a romantic connection or not. It helps you decide what are those strange little hurdles that you keep bumping up against in your pairing, whether it's with a sibling, a parent, or a coworker. You can check out what sun sign matches are like, and you can go further into it by checking me out in part 2, where I give you helpful hints to overcome those obstacles you may or may not have in those pairings. Okay, so as I said, we are talking about Gemini this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So who's a Gemini? Well, Gemini sun signs are born May 21st through June 20th. This is a mutable air sign, and it is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication. So what do they say about Geminis? Well, Geminis are known to be expressive and quick-witted. Gemini represents two different personality types in one person, and you're never quite sure which personality you're gonna get at any given time. Now, they are sociable people, they're communicative, and they're typically always ready for fun, unless you get the other side, in which case they're ready to get crunk. But we're not gonna talk about that right now. Back to the positive traits of Gemini. Now, they have a tendency to suddenly get serious, like I said, thoughtful, and restless. So although you are typically going to get the fun-loving, joke-cracking, communicative, social butterfly Gemini, there are times that if you press it or if you get out of line with the Gemini, you will find yourself face-to-face with the other twin. Now, the Geminis are fascinating people. They are curious about the world in itself, and they often feel like there isn't enough time in the day to handle all the things that they want to experience and see. As I said, they are an air sign, and therefore this connects them to all aspects of the mind. They are indeed ruled by the planet Mercury, which I mentioned earlier, represents communication, and communication is in written and communicative voice form, as well as movement. Movement is also a form of communication, and your Gemini is definitely down with that. Now, people born under the sun sign Gemini sometimes feel that their other half is missing, and so they are constantly seeking new friends, new mentors, new colleagues, new experiences, and people to talk to invigorate and reconnect that missing side of them. So in their partnerships, a lot of times, the Gemini is looking for a relationship that is going to fill in the missing piece. Now, this is a very versatile, inquisitive, and fun-loving sign who typically inspire other people by their outlook and they're fun to be around. So they're hardly ever boring people. You really don't hear about very many Geminis being boring. And they're always up for an intellectual challenge, and Gemini sees love first through communication and verbal contact with their partners. So the #1 way to get a Gemini's attention is to have a very good communication game going, a very good talk game, very good text game, a very good movement game. If you're a person that's a really good dancer and a Gemini sees that, that's communication, that's movement for a Gemini. So you're definitely going to spark Gemini's curiosity, and they're going to want to know more about you. Geminis love to meet new people, and they are known to flirt. And as I said, the first thing that a Gemini is looking for is your ability to communicate. So you have got to have a strong talk game with the Gemini, a strong texting game. The thing is with the Gemini, which differs them from other sun signs, is that you just can't have that strong communication and good talk game in the beginning. You have to sustain it. It has to keep going. It has to be a continuous thing for the Gemini, or they're going to move on and find someone else. Doesn't necessarily mean that they let you know that they moved on and found somebody else, but we'll talk about that later. But the Gemini is constantly looking for a verbal, communicative partner. They need that communication. So if you are dealing with a Gemini, talk it through. Now, Geminis are often falsely misrepresented as two-faced people. But in reality, Geminis rarely have an hidden agenda. They haven't given it that much thought, to be honest with you. They're playful and intellectually curious. And Gemini is constantly juggling a variety of passions, hobbies, careers, and friend groups. So when you're thinking that the Gemini is plotting towards something else, a lot of times they're actually just moved on to something else to do for whatever reason. Now, I'm not saying that your gut instinct is telling you wrong about the Gemini. I'm just saying that's something else to consider. Now, they are social butterflies of the zodiac. They are known to be, and they are quick-witted and can talk to anyone about almost anything, even if it's for a short period of time. If you have somebody in there that's kind of strange in their communication, send the Gemini in. The Gemini will go in and they'll calmly handle that conversation. And even if they walk away feeling like, what was that? They'll still sit there and enjoy it. And the person talking probably won't have any idea that the Gemini was bored to tears. Now, what are some strengths about the Gemini? Well, the Gemini is typically gentle, affectionate. They're curious, they're adaptable, they think on their feet, and the ability to learn quickly and exchange ideas with others. So, as I said, you know, you have somebody that's difficult to talk to, find yourself a Gemini in the room and send them on in there to handle the task. So, getting into the weaknesses of the Gemini, they are known to be nervous, inconsistent, and indecisive. Some Gemini likes, they typically like music, books, magazines, traveling, and chatting with people. The Geminis are the talkers. Some Gemini dislikes being alone, being confined, repetition, and routine. Now, keep in mind, we're talking in general terms. If you're a Gemini and you just listened to all this and you just said, what in the heck is she talking about? This is not me at all. Well, okay, that's okay. You're right. You know you better than I do. We're talking in generalities here. And typically, these are some of the things and some of the traits that you will find in a Gemini sun sign. Okay? So, without further ado, we're going to get into what your sun sign is like when they're paired with Gemini. So stay tuned. We're getting into that right after this. Hello, Gemini with Libra. Welcome to your matchup. Now, Gemini with Libra is one of the most compatible matches in the sun sign zodiac pairings. This matchup has the potential to be one of those matches that make other couples wonder, how in the world are these two so synced? Of course, other placements are involved in that fantastic Gemini Libra matchup. Other things have to be compatible. For typically on the surface, Gemini and Libras are said to go along and get along very well. Now, while Gemini is normally a flirtatious person, Libra is likely to be the partner who can genuinely hold their interests as well as hold their own, as Libras also like attention and are known to flirt. So while Gemini is out there flirting and doing their thing, Libra is off enjoying and working the room too. And between the two of them, as long as they're solid in their understanding of each other, there typically isn't a jealousy problem between a Gemini and Libra as they go along and get along and understand the mindset of a flirtatious person. Now, you're both intellectual signs, and you're both highly analytical, and you both love to communicate. So you two together will be thinking about things, and you won't be overly emotional about them, and you will like to discuss them. Now, the debates between a Gemini and Libra will always be lively, and if you get into a fight because the two of you just don't agree about something, chances are it blows over, as you're both pretty much known to be the forgive and forget type. Now, you both love to travel, you both seek adventure and experiencing new things, and you both enjoy the social aspect of things, as you enjoy parties and social gatherings, as friendships are very important to Libra, and Gemini enjoys making new friends. So going out and about and spending time socially will not and should not be a problem for a Gemini-Libra matchup. Now, Libra will be inspired by Gemini's constant search for fun. Gemini likes to get out, go, and experience life. And Gemini will appreciate the fact that Libra is down for the cause and they are going to go with you, and you guys can be out and about. They'll just jump right in, and you two of you can go out and have a good time together. Now, Gemini, you'll admire Libra's social skills, their optimism, and their sophistication, how flattering Libra can be in most circumstances. And because of that, and because you see how well they communicate, that's a turn on for you, Gemini, because as we discussed, a romance for Gemini definitely starts between their ears. And if they're watching Libra communicate so effectively, because Libras are, of course, quite charming, Gemini is going to definitely be into that. And so your social gatherings will probably turn into a wonderful part two between the two of you later on. Now, Gemini, in most instances, will mirror Libra's moods, ensuring that you're typically on the same page. So they will see Libra in this instance, they're actually leading the way in the relationship, as Gemini will pulse what you're doing and what you're talking about and just go along with it, because Geminis are just there to have a good time. Now, the negatives list is short between you, as you can both be indecisive and you both love to spend money. In the scheme of things, those are kind of minor issues, unless, of course, there are other factors involved and you guys are living way outside your means, because Libra likes to look good and Gemini's like, sure, why not? So that's when it can get a little major. But we're talking about very general, specific, you know, and you're just going for a few too many lattes per month. So those are things and behaviors that you can curtail and develop a system on decision making, because of course Libras are known to want to think through everything before they make a decision, and Geminis can sometimes be impulsive and just go ahead and do it and worry about it later. I'll talk to you on part 2 that will give you some strategies on how to lessen those behaviors and get more towards making decisions in a Gemini-Libra matchup. So in part 2, we will talk about that. We will talk about also how Gemini is known not to want to make commitments, where Libras enjoy being in relationships, and how you can have a conversation with your Gemini in a way that they don't seem restricted, and that they'll actually happily go along with the relationship idea for you, Libra. So we'll talk about that as well as that heated private time that they say Gemini and Libra has, because of course you guys both enjoy talking, so your talk game should be pretty fantastic. Libra is known to be the romantic, so they are also known to pull that out of Gemini. How do they do that? Well, we'll talk about that and more in part 2. Join me at www.sohnjee.com. The information is in the description box as well. And we'll talk about a Gemini Libra love match. What you can do to make this relationship that is already pretty smooth a lot smoother. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, if you are in a Gemini Libra relationship and you would like to talk to me about it, you'd like to let the rest of us know how that's going, please feel free to leave it in the comments section below. As always, I thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, I'd appreciate you subscribing and hitting the bell so that we can continue to talk about different things here on the channel as we get to know and learn each other better. Thanks so much. See you on part 2, Gemini with Libra. You guys are a pretty good matchup, but we're going to talk about some ways to make it better. Until then, bye-bye.